Morning to everyone. This is Aloknath, Innovation Manager of Manage CAA. We are going to commence our 120th webinar in Manage Saturday webinar series. From October 2020 onwards, continuously Manage CAA is conducting webinar in all Saturdays. The core objective of this webinar series is to impart knowledge and to share fruitful information with agri stakeholder, which enable them to redefine and design a stable structure for their agripreneurial pathway. The webinar series is conducted under the National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management called MANAGE, an autonomous institute under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, apex body for agriculture extension located at Hyderabad. MANAGE Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship is an agribusiness incubation unit operating at MANAGE Hyderabad. It is one of the leading agribusiness incubator across the country. MANAGE CIA is committed and dedicated for converting agribusiness ideas into reality, nurturing, supporting, and developing agribusiness ecosystem of the country. MANAGE CIA have mentored 503 startup, incubated 310 startup, and supported 103 startup with a grant in aid fund. As you are aware, today's topic is role of financial institution in promoting agripreneurship and agri-startup. As financial organizations or banks are adding value to startup lives, supporting them mainly in terms of meeting the financial aid, which is primarily the requirement of every startup across the globe. Even the SBI Bank have started an exclusive bank for startup on August 2022 at Koramangala, Bangalore, which exclusively run for supporting startup. So that many initiative has been taken by the government to support and flourish the startup culture in the country. Today, our speakers will share information about the various initiatives taken by bank and other financial institutions in designing the career of agri startup. We will commence the 120th webinar. I welcome all the three speakers to the Manage Saturday webinar series and also extend my welcome to my colleagues and most importantly, the participants who inspires us to push our magnitude of our webinar in terms of topic, diversification, and geography. So the session will be moderated by Amit Kale, Marketing and Communication Manager of Manage CIA. Participants can ask the question in the chat box. Question answer session will be taken towards the end of all the three sessions. So let's begin. We start our webinar by introducing the first speaker, Mrs. Karuna Yarasi, Assistant General Manager of Agri Business at the State Bank of India, Mumbai. She have rich experience in banking industry and also in working with agri startup. Mrs. Karuna is an expertise and skilled in research and development, microfinance, livelihood, teaching, and financial inclusions. Associated with many startups and always passionate in contributing and adding value to startups ecosystem. Ms. Karunaji, you are kindly take up this session. You are most welcome, ma'am. Please, the floor is all yours now.
Thank you. Just give me a minute for uploading my video. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible and you're perfectly audible also. You can start. Yeah.
So thank you very much and good morning, all of you. I really thank Alok for such kind words about me and thank you, Manage, for this opportunity. So let me just brief about the initiatives taken by State Bank of India in promoting agripreneurship and associating with agri-startups. Most of you might be knowing State Bank of India is bank. We take pride in saying that we are banker to every Indian. So we are the largest Indian bank with 1/4 market share in the country. And 95.5% of our transactions are on alternate channels and including the farming community. We have 1.4 crores of farmers associated with us. We serve over 45 crore customers through our vast network of 22 to 26 branches, 65,000 ATMs, and cash deposit withdrawal machines, and our BC outlets, which are around 68,000, which are working in the nook and corners of the country, starting from Himalayas to the tip of the country. So we take pride in serving the country. And when the startup policy had been brought up by Government of India, then in alignment with the government policies, we have opened a branch exclusively for handling the startups requirements, and it is called SBI Incube branch. It is in Koramangala, Bengaluru, the hub of the heart startups in our country. And there the specialized staff are interacting with startups, understanding their requirements, facilitating their transactional requirements, and they are also facilitating the interactions with various stakeholders in the ecosystem. So I'm very happy to share that very shortly our bank is planning to open 2 more branches. One is in Gurgaon and another one in Hyderabad, which are again the next startup hubs apart from Bangalore. So we have a specialized product called the Krishi Umang, and this Krishi Umang is exclusively for startups, and the requirement is that who can take this loan, who can avail this loan? The startups who have been registered with Department of for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, and which of course all of you might be knowing that Startup India website, and startups which are having sustainable business model and established proof of concept. So at a certain level, when they are able to go for the matured startups, when they are going for the marketing or marketization of their products. So startups having support of registered incubators, accelerators, or who are already having investors which are as per the Government of India guidelines, like angel investment funds, so which have already done the funding in different stages. So the purpose for which the loan can be availed, this dedicated startup loan can be availed for prototype creation or product creation, website development or app development, or team hiring, or legal and consulting services, raw material and equipment, or licenses and certification, or marketing and sales requirements, or purchasing or leasing of office spaces and administrative expenses. So these are the basic requirements of a startup. So these requirements of the startups can be financed through term loan or a working capital. The loan maximum under this particular product is up to 50 crores, and this loan is collateral free when it is registered under credit guarantee scheme, and there is a specific credit guarantee scheme for startups, so it will be covered under the credit guarantee. So working capital is for the day-to-day operational requirements, and term loan is for the it is for establishing a project, that is investment purpose. So the rate of interest for these loans are, for below 50 lakhs, it is 12% and it is reset every year. And loans above 50 lakhs are, the rate of interest is charged based on the risk profiling of that particular startup. So we have a model wherein we profile the risk when we are quoting the rate, that the pricing will be based on the risk premium, and there will be a 0.5% of concession for concession in interest rate for women beneficiaries. Suppose in the startups, the predominant share is by women or a woman, then the rate of interest concession is 0.5%. And this loan is available for 10 years, and the moratorium period is maximum 3 years. So this is about the structure of this particular product or the loan. So what are the mandatory requirements that we see in this particular, when we talk about the eligibility? After the eligibility criteria, we also look for the proof of concept. And if any angel investment fund has already invested in this particular startup, this is a mandatory. So this is one of the risk mitigation we see because of the interest in the angel investment funds in a particular startup. That is one of the indicators that the startup might be likely to take off in a sustainable manner. There would be growth in future. So as I said earlier, credit guarantee from credit guarantee for startup scheme, as per Government of India guideline, it will be covered under that particular scheme. And one of the mandatory requirement is that the current account of the startup should be with us, and the maximum cash flows will be routing through our bank. So the cash flows will be one of the indicator of the performance of the startups. So, and it is a debt funding. And as I said earlier, that the startup branch that we have in Bengaluru, it is facilitating the transaction business of the startups. And one of the advantage of that is we get to know the cash flows generated by the startups. Cash flows will be an indicator for us to assess the working capital requirement of that particular startup. So the most exciting part of this particular startup arena is it is not only the funding or financing to the startup. The users of the startups, especially the agri startups, the users are the farmers, and the farmers are our clientele. So in our agri business, our clientele are the farmers. So you are, as a startup, catering to the varied needs of the farmers. And the startups had become a bridge in bridging the missing link between the farmers and the retailers, wholesalers, consumers. So there are various ways that the startups are filling in the gap so that the farmers are able to assess the requirements in the farmers are able to realize or actualize the cash for their harvest. So the farmers are getting introduced to the new agri practices as agri startups are providing them innovative solutions. So the innovative solutions may be in the marketing segment or in the supply chain or in the advisory services or other support services. But definitely a farmer who is using these particular services of these startups are progressive in nature, and these services of startups are definitely augmenting the income of farmers that we have observed over a period of time. So the associated clientele or the customers of the startups are very good targeted customers for agri value chain financing. So if we finance the farmers, those farmers will be purchasing the services of these startups, and that will be the income of the startups. That will be a sustainable income for the startups. So there will be a win-win situation. So this financing the farmers to avail the services of the startups will be done with the collaboration of the collaboration with the startups, and it not only supports the activities of the startups in a sustainable way over a period of time, but there will be a what you say the scope for further augmentation or the growth in that particular company. So the bank will gain the access to the customer base of these startups. And as you all aware, this database is very, very important, and which can be a captive target base for the bank who are utilizing the startup services. And this customer base or the clientele of the startups are financed by the bank. So this is a very, very attractive point when we are talking the financing of the startups, because there are multiple various sources for the startups when the funding is considered. So the debt funding is only one particular aspect of that multiple sources of funding. The other in a sustainable way is this. The most important USP is agri value chain financing in collaboration with startups. So how do you avail these loans? So either you contact our Bengaluru branch, or if you are in any state, we have a local head office in every state. So in the local head office, we have agribusiness units or agribusiness department. Agribusiness department can be contacted for availing these loans. And apart from agri startups, as the titles of this webinar says, that we have agripreneurs also to be financed. Can I take 2 more minutes, Alok? Is it okay?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Yeah, no issue,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So this particular, what you say, the Government of India scheme of Agri Infrastructure Fund is a very, very important, and it has so many features which were not available earlier. So the rate of interest is capped at 9%, and if you are repaying regularly, you get a 3% rate of interest subvention, and up to 2 crores, no collateral. Beyond 2 crores, the collateralization is only 30%. See, the advantages are multiple. Even when you are up to 2 crores, your loan will be covered under the CGTMSE. The credit guarantee fee will be borne by the Government of India. You don't need to pay it as a borrower. And the another attractive advantage of this particular scheme for the agripreneurs is that you don't need to do in you don't need to go to any department or a branch and do the inquiry. Just go to this particular site, agriinfra.dac.gov.in, and then enter your credentials there. You will be supported for generating your project report, and you generate the project report, you select the branch, and you will be landing in our bank site. And we will be taking you from there with all your support documents and then doing our processes. So it is a very, very easy step-by-step process. And if you need any support, you can always seek our specialized agri specialists are there in every district headquarters and the state headquarters. So they will be supporting you if you want any support, but mostly they are smooth, that step by step you can go ahead. And the very important point of this is, up to 2 crores, you can have 25 different locations, 25 into 2. So 50 crores of projects you can establish in a different geographic location, and all these 50 crores will be credit guarantee covered, and Government of India is bearing the um, credit guarantee fee. So startups also can be availing this particular loan under Agri Infrastructure Fund. So these are the various activities. If you're agripreneur in these activities, or if you're an agri startup in these activities, you can avail the loan under Agri Infrastructure Fund at a subsidized interest rate with lesser collateralization. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Karan ma'am. Of course, indeed, it's SBI is one of the largest nationalized bank in India, and you explained very well what are the different initiatives are being taken by SBI for the welfare of the farmers and how they can while the loans from the bank. So we'll take the questions at the end of the session. So request to all participants, please mention your questions in the chat box. And also, if you want to directly ask the questions, you can raise the hand. So at the end, we'll take the questions. So now I request to Alok, please introduce to the next speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Amit. So our next speaker is Mr. Mayur G. Kampli, District Development Manager of National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development called Nabard. It's located at Dharwad, Karnataka. Mr. Mayur is an engineer by qualification and a development banker in the Apex Development Financial Institution of India. His area of expertise are farm sector development and climate resilience projects, bank supervision, IT, and finance. So I welcome Mayur, sir, to the session. The floor is all yours. You can now take up, sir. Please. Mayur ji? Yeah. Hi, sir.
Thank you, Alok ji, for the introduction, and thank you, Amit ji. Talking about Nabard. Nabard is the apex developmental financial institution of India, and it deals with matters like developmental role, supervisory role, and financial role. The mandate of Nabard is to foster rural prosperity. So our sphere of operation is basically agriculture and rural development, and agripreneurship is one of the prime focus of Nabard. So without taking much time, I'll directly start with the presentation I have today. So this is Agri-Clinic and Agribusiness Center scheme that I'll be talking about. Nabard is the agency which is channelizing the subsidy scheme on behalf of Government of India. So what is the scheme about? Agri-Clinic and Agribusiness Center, the scheme was launched in 2002 and there were several revisions in 2010 and 2018. The prime objective of this particular scheme is to provide gainful employment to agriculture graduates and to provide the extension and other services to the farmers and to support agriculture development. The basic criteria for anybody to be able to utilize the benefits of this scheme is that they should be between the age of 18 to 60 years, and they should be an agriculture graduate or can also be a diploma holder. Now the status as on 13th of January, across the country, there are 83,810 candidates who have been trained under this Agri-Clinic Agribusiness scheme. And out of these 83,000, 36,560 candidates have already set up their ventures. So what is Agri-Clinic and what is agribusiness? Agri-Clinic is basically the extension services, expert advisories, and so on, which can enhance the productivity and perhaps may lead to an increase in the income of the farmers. And the Agribusiness Center is basically the ventures which can be set up, which are more capital in nature. Now, the eligible candidates for this particular scheme are graduates, as I told in the beginning, and then even diploma holders, provided that they have at least secure at least 50% of marks. And even postgraduate diploma holders in agriculture and allied subjects are also eligible. Recently, there has been some modification wherein the specifications of certain trades like environmental science, botany, zoology, and chemistry have also been included. So these degrees and diploma courses have to be from a recognized institution across the country. And as I said in the beginning, that this is for gainful employment. So this particular scheme is open to only those candidates who are not presently employed or who have not retired because the age is 60. So those candidates who are already having some form of employment, they are not eligible for this kind of scheme. It is only for those who are not employed. And the selection of the candidates. So there is a methodological process through which the candidates are selected. The applications are called by Manage, which is a nodal institution to provide the for channelizing the scheme. And we have nodal training institutes through which the trainings are conducted. So the applications are called, then the interviews are held, and after that, once the candidates are selected, they will undergo a 45 days of residential training, which would deal with several matters related to agripreneurship. So nodal training institutions not only provide training, but they also handhold the candidates in preparing a DPR, and they also provide the follow-up handholding on a continuous basis. So once any candidate who takes this training and is able to do it successfully and is able to set up his enterprise, he will get a one-time incentive of around 1,000 rupees when he sets up his initiative. And there are certain ceilings for this subsidy scheme. So the project ceiling for the subsidy purpose is calculated as 20 lakhs. So let us say that the project cost is around 35 lakhs, but the amount which will be calculated for subsidy purposes will be 20 lakhs if it is an individual project. And suppose if it is a group project, then the project cost can be 1 crore. And proportionately, the subsidy will be calculated on that for the group project. Per candidate, it will be calculated. Now coming to the financial and the figures about it. So since this is a subsidy scheme, the subsidy is divided in this way, that it is 36% for the general public, and then it will be 44% for women candidates, SC and ST, and Northeastern region and Hilly states candidate. And this subsidy is a one-time subsidy which is released by Nabard to the banks who have sanctioned these kind of loans under this particular scheme. And the loan are in the form of composite term loan, wherein there will be a fixed capital plus working capital for one cycle. And there should be a capital cost of at least 10% of the total financial outlay. So suppose somebody has to set up a project under ACDC, that particular candidate has to ensure that at least 10% of the total project cost goes into capital investment. So this is a capital formation is going to be the prime prime objective of this particular scheme if you're going for a business center. And the margin money, as per the RBI guidelines, at presently for loans up to 5 lakh rupees, there is no margin money required. If there is above, if the project cost is above 5 lakh, then proportionately the margin money needs to be given by the candidates. And there are some concessions available for SC, ST and women beneficiaries who are not able to contribute much money in margin money. So for that, either the bank loan has to be covered to the maximum extent, or some other way the candidates can be supported by Nabard as well as the government. And the rate of interest will be as per the standard guidelines issued by RBI from time to time. As you know, that the repo rates are keep on changing because of the monetary policy, bi-monthly monetary policy, and monetary policy which keeps on changing every 2 months. So based on that, whatever the existing guidelines are issued, the rate of interest are decided by the banks. Security for loans up to 5 lakh rupees. If somebody wants to set up a small unit, let us say a small processing unit, which may not be exceeding 5 lakh. For that, only hypothecation of assets need to be done and no other additional security. For loans above 5 lakh rupees, the applicable security as per the RBI guidelines need to be furnished. The repayment, the scheme being made to promote agripreneurship, it has been taken care that candidates can get at least 2 years of moratorium period. So if somebody is taking loan under ACBC scheme, that candidate may get 2 years of grace period in order to set up and run his business successfully before making the repayment. And the repayment can vary from 5 to 10 years, depending on the loan which is being sanctioned. Now, the time period of completion, once the project has been sanctioned, once the first installment has been released by the concerned bank, it has to be ensured that within 6 months, the project has to be completed. And if it is not completed, then the subsidy is may be recalled. Now, the subsidy management. Now, this we have to understand how the subsidy works. The subsidy is a back-end subsidy, meaning that the candidate has to make all the repayments successfully, and during the course of the last installments, like let us say there is a loan of 3 years, out of which 2 years the candidate has paid successfully to 2.5 years, then the last portion proportionate to the amount of subsidy, let us say 36% of XYZ amount. So whatever the subsidy works out, that will be adjusted in the last installment. So that is how it works. And there is a minimum lock-in period of 3 years. So that means that the customer cannot close the account before 3 years, a particular loan account. And the subsidy is kept by the banks in a account called a subsidy reserved fund account. And from where this particular subsidy will be credited to the loan account during the last installments. And yes, the rate of interest, the banks should be able to provide at the beginning at the time of sanction. So the procedure is like this: the customer, whoever or the candidate, whosoever has availed this ACABC training, has successfully completed the course, got the certificate, applied for the loan. After application, the banks are supposed to take action within 15 days. And once the loan is sanctioned, the banks have to, within 15 days, submit all the necessary subsidy claim supporting documents to Nabard, to which there is a checklist that we issue to the banks. So it works this way, that the customer takes the loan, gets it sanctioned, and thereafter it is the bank's duty to send all the subsidy documents to Nabard, and we will be processing it here at our end. So these are the roles of financial institutions and banks who are financing under this scheme, that they have to ensure that the board, display board, consists of this acknowledgement for the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, regarding the ACABC benefits received. And as I said, Nabard is a channelizing agency on behalf of the government for this scheme. So all the inspections and reporting is done to Nabard. Now coming to eligible activities, now we came to know about what the scheme is, who are eligible, what are the modalities, what is the process. Now coming to the eligible activities, this scheme is literally covering almost all the activities which can be considered under the umbrella of agriculture and rural sector. As you can see, even soil and water testing equipments are considered. Agri-tourism is also considered. Somebody wants to set up an eco resort, an agro-tourism resort, they can also very well start this under this particular scheme. And even biofertilizer units, biopesticide units, apiaries, poultry fishery, agri-journalism. There is a huge long list, more than 37 activities. And all these activities, due to paucity of time, will not go through that. But it is openly available in public domain. We just have to go to one website link that I will share at the end. So value addition, cold chain, and giving some examples like retail marketing outlets also can be supported. So this list is indicative, as I said. For exhaustive list and for more different kind of activities, you can visit this particular website, agriclinics.net, from where you can get more information in a detailed manner. That is a set of guidelines. 2018 guidelines is the latest one. So candidates, whosoever is interested, then they can go on this website and download the circular. Now, this is one part of what I wanted to present. Coming to the next portion, there are several schemes which are presently available under developmental initiatives taken by the Government of India through different departments. So this was one through the Ministry of Agriculture, and there is another scheme that I'd like to talk about, which is again promoting micro entrepreneurship. So this is PM Prime Minister Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprises, that is called PMFME. And food processing is one such sector where there is 74% of employment, but mostly it is informal employment. So the whole idea of this particular scheme is to formalize the food processing sector. And 80% of the food processing sector in India, they are family based. In Karnataka state alone, there are 1.247 lakh unorganized food processing units. So the whole idea is to bring them and make them formalized, and through the bank credit, facilitate the licenses like FSSAI, and even promote new entrepreneurs. So this is again where agripreneurship can be one of the very potential scheme for promoting agripreneurship. Like we saw in the ACABC scheme, there is 36% subsidy for general land, 44 for women and SC/ST. This scheme also provides a very good subsidy rate. So the challenges faced here is basically innovation, deficiency in quality and food safety control systems, lack of branding, marketing skills, capital deficiency. So to address these issues, the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, Government of India has come up with this scheme wherein people can get access to the bank credit and they can get it affordably. So the nodal department is Department of Agriculture, and every state has a state nodal agency. In Karnataka, it is CAPEC. Likewise, in other states, there will be other identified agencies. And there is a district level committee wherein all the applications under this particular scheme is being processed, is being recommended, and the deputy commissioner or the deputy magistrate, depending on the state, they will be the chairman of this committee. So this subsidy scheme is again a credit link and back-end subsidy scheme. So 35% is the total subsidy available, and there is a maximum ceiling of rupees 10 lakh. So let us say a unit is costing around 10 lakhs. So 35%, 3.5 lakh rupees will be the subsidy. But if it is crossing, let us say 50 lakhs, still the upper limit will be 10 lakh rupees, which is eligible. So it is either 35% or 10 lakhs, whichever is low. Now, even farmer producer organizations, SHGs, cooperatives, they are also eligible to take benefit under the scheme. Even self-help groups, they get 40%, 40,000 seed capital under this particular scheme. So, new and existing micro food processing units, both are eligible. Now, when it comes to micro entrepreneurship, micro industries, we have to understand that the total investment in plant and machinery has to be less than or equal to 1 crore, not more than 1 crore. So, these kind of investments will be eligible to take benefits under this scheme. And in case of FPO, farmer produce organization, the turnover has to be minimum 1 crore, and the cost of land is not included under any such project. So if at all somebody has to go for a land purchase, they have to do it under their own cost. Otherwise, lease land can also work for such schemes. So it's not necessary that everybody should be purchasing the land. Even a lease arrangement is also okay for that. Now, the application process, the WAFP.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, but we have one more speaker there, so we'll request you to finish it in 2 minutes.
Okay, okay. May I know how much time is left for me? I did not get have the track of time. How much
Yeah,
time is
2
left,
minutes
please?
more you can take, sir. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Yeah. So this is the process flow. I understand that we have paucity of time. So there are so many things that are presently available. But yeah, to cover everything is not possible. So, anyways, I'll just quickly finish in 2 minutes of time. Lot of information also, I think it may not be possible to provide in a short period of time. So here it is just one last glimpse of the successful agropreneurs in Harvard district that I'll be talking about. So one person under this scheme, ABC scheme, Mr. Rakesh Singh, he's MSc graduate, 29 age, and he has started his enterprise called as Agri-Cart Organics. So during the master's program, he came to know about this ACBC scheme from his university professors, and then he planned to opened his own store, an organic store. The total project cost was 11 lakh, out of which he got 9 lakh as the 9.9 lakh as the bank loan, and margin money was 1.1 lakh. He set up the store in 2018, and he's already has a turnover of more than 1 crore. This is his store. He set up in Dharwad district, and these are the products that he's dealing with. It includes all the agriculture, agro-processed products like oil and edible items. And he makes 20% as a total of the total revenue as profits. Another case, Kashinath Kojalgi, and he has taken benefit under PMFME scheme that I just told about. So his project cost was 15 lakhs, and the bank loan he took 12 lakhs, margin money 3 lakhs. He has set up an oil processing unit, and he has set up in 2021 and crossed 50 lakhs as a total revenue. This is the unit that he has set up in here in Alnawar in Dharwad district. So because of this scheme, he could get 35% subsidy. So these are some of the practical implementation of the scheme, and there is a lot of scope for agripreneurship available today, and access to information, access to all the available financial institutions or knowledge, and even nowadays we can see that there is more awareness everywhere. So it is best interest. It is in the best interest of everybody that we try to gain as much knowledge as possible from the internet. It is readily available in public domain, and people can take benefit of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayur sir, to explaining. Of course, Nabard is one of the apex bank in agriculture finance and for the startups, and you are mainly explaining about the ACABC scheme and PMFM scheme, how it is going to be helpful to the agri startups. Of course, they will take the benefit of this scheme, and they will take this information and benefit for their startups. So now I request to Alok to introduce on the today's last speaker for this webinar.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you. So, with greater pleasure, I introduce the last speaker, Mr. Shabir Ahmed, Zonal Agri-Business Head, Federal Bank Limited, Tamil Nadu. He have rich experience in banking sector. He is an expertise in agri-finance, associated with farmers and startup mainly in the region of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Graduated from the College of Veterinary and Animal Science from Manuti, always taking the lead role in terms of contributing his knowledge and effort for developing the startup and agripreneurs. Welcome you, sir. You can now take up the session, sir. Please. Shabir ji?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, great. Welcome, sir. Please take it.
Whether my video is visible? Yeah.
You are perfectly audible. Video is also perfect.
Warm morning, everyone. Thank you, Manoj A, for organizing the meeting. So we've seen a lot of schemes, details mentioned over here. So basically, I want to just brush about what will be the real scenario when a startup or something comes to the real in bank aspect. So this nowadays technologies and has drastically changed the way this agri aspect has grown in India recently. So even we recently I met one startup, like it's a dairy related startup. So there they keeps daily monitoring of the milks collected, the health parameters of an animal. They use a small smartwatch, small sort of things to attach to cattle and all. So the way they monitor the health parameters, they daily analyze the milk collected and all. So they have a clear-cut data of what all the milk or the productivity of the animal. So what I want to highlight is previously when we approach for a loan, let's say I'm talking in bank's perspective, when we go for a loan, we usually see the prospect of the client, how wealth, how asset, how the knowledge depth is there. But now the lending aspect has changed. Now we are
So
seeing the
sorry to
productivity.
interject. Do you have any PPT to share, sir, or you prefer to
No, no,
talk?
no. Yeah, I prefer to talk.
Yeah, please carry on.
Yeah, yeah. So the way of lending has changed. Here we see the productivity of the animal because already we have a good quality data of an animal. Let's say X animal, where we have a quality data. That animal has, let's say that A animal has given so and so yield of milk over like last 2 years. So the same or similar expectancy is there for coming next 2 or 3 years. So based on that data, we can fund, and the health data of the animal is also regularly monitored and normal insurance plan. So this the trend of lending has entirely changed. So the technology has brought here and this way of lending has changed. So that is a very important thing which I want to highlight. Previously any, let's say one a person comes for a loan, we'll see that how much how long he's doing the farming aspect, how much net worth holdings he have, what is the collateral he's giving. So now more than the client, we'll see the productivity of the animal. So that's the way technology has brought out. So when we think of any startup or something, the finance is a very sole part. So I'm just brushing the real scenario. So when you go to a branch and tell like, I have an idea, I want to do going for a startup, I want to do an activity. The basic thing banker will check is how depth is your knowledge, how expertise are you there in this business, and you should have a clear cut plan how you're going to start, how you're going to scale up, when you have a challenge, how you're going to manage it, and all basic details should be aware. If let's say you get an idea and if you just come and directly present, there is less chance of getting a loan. And moreover, all this your idea should be put into form of a bankable project, which usually you depend mostly a startup. They depends upon some other vendors or some people who will put a blank or a different like exaggerated data or something like that, which may lead to rejection. So your project should be in a bankable model, which should be realistic, and you should have a clear cut idea where, what is my plan, what I am going to do, how I'm going to expand. This is the way I'm taking through it, because startup always there are many unseen challenges faces there. So you need to know clear cut business model of the way you are taking forward. That's a very important thing when you're going to, because it's more of like an interview. When you go to a bank and you're approaching for a loan, this thing should be very clear. And second part is like you should need a mentor, obviously, expertise person in that field to guide you or support you. As like there are many incubation centers which supports them, or let's previously, as Madam mentioned, any angel investors are there. Bank will be having more confidence to support you because okay, so and so is there. There is a proper mentor is there. So this expertise, your depth of knowledge, your like the way you're moving the your future plans into the project, these things are very important. along with this execution plans. And the few schemes which I want to highlight is already been explained by Madam and Mayur also. So ACABC scheme and AF schemes are a very wonderful product. Besides that, Federal Bank has come up with one different product, which maybe like is one of the revolutionary product I would say, because it's audible now. 1 minute.
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds, sir. Now
Yeah,
you're
fine.
audible.
Yeah. So the product is called, as we know, to farmers, small and marginal farmers. Federal Bank has done a revolutionary product where we could deliver a loan in less than 5 minutes. So all the process where farmers, because why I am telling this product, because when you do a startup, farmers are the your end users, or you'll be directly linked to the farmers. In any agri activities, you will be directly involved with the farmers. So for the startups, this finance is a very important aspect for the farmers to stick to your like your startup or something like that. So what the highlight of this product is, we will be able to deliver a loan to a farmer in less than 5 minutes entirely in the digital platform. That means a farmer need not to lift a pen to get a loan. So all this process, let's say his chitta pata verification, signing of documents, his eligibility assessment part, all this thing can be done in less than 5 minutes. So how does it work for a startup? Means, let's say you're planning to do a small startups where you're procuring some commodity from some farmers and you are selling. Let's we saw some organic unit, so you are procuring some vegetables or something like that from farmers directly, and farmers will be in need of a money for their next stage, because for the next crop. So where we can collaborate and support you so that you can get the holding of the farmers. So the farmers, we will be able to deliver the farmers in less than 5 minutes, and you can keep hold of the farmers. So it'll be like a both of win-win situation. Okay, yeah. I'm getting some connection issues. So that is one important thing which I want to highlight. Next, other parameters. As we mentioned, ACABC and Agri Infrastructure, both are wonderful product to support with. It's available across in India, in all across all banks. So if I'm heading in Tamil Nadu, so if any leads or if you're interested for such AF or ACABC projects, please head to me or write to me. We can support on that. So this is generalized topic which I want to share. Any like we will have more discussion in the Q and all. If any questions or similar things are required. Yeah, Amit.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shabir. Of course, you're mentioning about the different initiatives are taken by the federal bank, and maybe the participants will ask you the many questions related to you. So now we'll move to quickly towards next session, that is the Q&A session. So yeah, I have also noted a few questions to all the speakers, but we'll take one question which is coming from the Dinkar. It may be to Mayur sir. Mayur sir, he wants to know that how ACABC or the Nabard can help financially to start and develop a dairy farm through ACABC. We already explained in the criteria, but again, Dinkar wants to know that how he can get support for the dairy farming.
Yeah. Hi, Dinkaji. Basically, as I said during my presentation, there are more than 30 activities indicative list which are eligible for this ICBC, and dairy is one of them. Dairy farming, goat farming can also be set up as an eligible activity under Agri Clinic and Agribusiness scheme. Simply, the candidate or the eligible person can take loan from the bank and request the bank to apply this under ACABC, provided that he has completed this ACABC course. So that is the main thing. We have to apply. The candidate has to be an agriculture graduate. Then they can undergo this particular training of 45 days, and after that you can follow the loan process. So that is the prerequisite. Somebody whoever is eligible, they can take the ACABC training and go for this.
Right. So yeah, there is the things you already explained also. So I hope Dinkar will get the answer. There is one more question to Karuna ma'am from my side to you. You mentioned that SBI is have some criteria to get the loan for the startups, but many times what happens to the startups, they don't have financial transactions in their accounts, or maybe the as such the ITR and the financial related documents with them. So in that case, how the startups can take avail the loans from the bank?
The loans cannot be directly given to the startups because of this particular impediment. But as I mentioned earlier, um, when there are customers who are availing the services of the startups, so the collaboration with the startup will enable the startups to strengthen their business. So one of the major pain point for the startups to become success is to scale up their operations and to be sustainable. So in that way, it is a very, very advantageous. And most importantly, if they do not have any sort of transaction history or collateral, what you say, security, then if they fit in into any of the activities like uh, what you say, manufacturing of kisan drones or reefer vans. If they are in the supply chain, then reefer vans or ripening chambers. So they all fit in into agri infrastructure fund. So
Right.
even though the startups may not be financed directly under the startup product, we will be looking into alternative existing products that we have, wherein we can finance these startups or the agripreneurs. So based on their activity, we will be able to identify under which particular product we can finance them and meet their requirement.
Right.
And in fact, Agri Infrastructure Fund is the first opportunity that the startup should be looking at to, if they are fit, if their activities are fitting into the eligible activities of AIF, because of the associated or the convergence of other schemes. Like if you are looking in any horticulture related activity, then the capital subsidy is up to 35% to 50%. So even if you are into supply chain like cleaning, grading, sorting, or packaging, drying, 35% is your capital subsidy. So in
Right.
a direct startup finance, you may not be getting all these benefits. So it is always advisable to look at what is beneficial to you as a company. And we at State Bank of India will also be advising the borrower that what will be beneficial to them. And one of the question that I saw in the chat box is it not the rate of interest high for the startups which are nascent, and cost of finance will be more for them, cost of funds
Right.
will be more for them. You all know, because you deal with startups day in day out, the success rate of startups is a one thing which is associated with risk. So
Yeah.
pricing is always associated with risk in the banks. So that is the reason I was advising again and again. I'm telling about the Agri Infrastructure Fund. Make use of it. What the government is giving, make use of it. So the security is 30% only. You don't need to give 100% security. So up to 2 crores, no security. And the margin is only 10% up to 50 lakhs, and beyond 50 lakhs, it is 25%. So just look at the opportunities that are available in the environment, and then that is the best way to stabilize, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, ma'am. They also will provide the presentation details of the all speakers, so the participants can check the details, and also will share the contact details of the speakers, so they can ask the more details about the schemes to them, so they will get the answers to your questions. Now we can in the participant, there is a Parva. He wants to ask the questions. So Saurabh, could you please unmute him so he can ask the question directly to the speakers? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Parra, you
Hello.
can ask directly question. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. My question goes to Madam Karuna Yarasi. Hello,
Yeah, ma'am.
am I
Yeah,
audible?
you're audible. Yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
audible, ma'am.
Yeah, so I am running a startup called Kamal Mushrooms, and for the spawn production, we badly need these infrastructures like autoclave and laminar flows, incubators, all these things. So, if we undergo this, uh, what to say that this for the Agripreneur, acabc and all from Nabard, or else from the Agri Infrastructure Fund, uh, how can we, I mean, go? We have just to go to the website or this thing given in the Agri Infrastructure Fund portal. If we go there, what are the criteria that we need to possess to get the fund?
Uh, Prava, am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. See, for mushrooms as an activity, we can finance directly, whether it is a startup or whether it is a company. That doesn't matter because basically it is a general agricultural activity under which it can be financed because you already have an activity. Agri Infrastructure Fund, as the name denotes, if there is an infrastructure involved in that, suppose for your mushroom cultivation you are having certain infrastructure development, like you have a pack house,
Yeah.
so you have a certain like grading or sorting or packaging. These are the activities in the pack house. So for these particular activities, we can finance under Agri Infrastructure Fund. So if you are contacting our agri specialists who are in your state, so they will be able to guide you up to which particular amount that you can be financed under direct activity, and which are all the associated activities that can be brought under Agri Infrastructure Fund, so that the cost will be beneficial to you. Cost of availing the loan is also beneficial to you. And also you will be getting the government subsidies like 35 to 50% capital subsidy.
Yes, ma'am. I have already applied since 2021, early 21. But the selection is, I mean, the applicants are many, I think so. So they are not giving any assistance to this particular startup. Maybe some, what to say, I just can't say the reason, but the state departments cannot do all, cannot sanction, cannot give all the possibilities.
Please contact me. My contact details will be shared by the manage. So I will be putting in touch with the concerned person so that we can see what effectively we can work out.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you. There is one more question, maybe to the all panelists asked by the Ratandeep, that for the any startup to avail a loan or as a security, how much land is criteria is there? The minimum land he should have, or as such any thing is there?
Up to 2 crores, it is nil because the security, there is a guarantee coverage by Government of India
Okay, I see.
under
Uh,
CGTMSC. But now
okay.
with the credit guarantee scheme for startups, that the credit guarantee can go up beyond 2 crores too. There are
See.
certain grading there available. So depending upon the scheme guidelines, we need to look at the particular startup where they will be fitting in.
Exactly. So it will be vary as per the case to case basis of the startup and the business he willing to start. So there is one more participant who raised his hand, Mr. Uday Kumar. He want to ask the question. Saurabh, could you please unmute him? So Mr. Uday, you can ask the questions.
Good morning, sir. Sir, my
Yes,
question
good
is
morning.
for Mayor sir and Karna madam. Madam, actually in ACABC, when the agripreneur wants to avail the loan, For suppose if we want to establish an pesticide shop, now in that the component will be the major stake will be at for the working capital purpose, and the turnover will be 10 to 20%. Now when he approaches the bankers are saying that here the subsidy is lock-in period is for 3 years, and the loans will be provided for only for investment credit, and here the working capital portion the repayment will be 1 year, like that they are saying.
Well, as per the scheme, the composite loan is available. So under composite loan, both term loan and working capital, both are considered. Working capital will be available as a bank loan for one cycle. So that is available from the bank side. Was that your query, that how much working
Yes,
capital?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
then it is available. It is available for one operating
Yes.
cycle.
Okay. I hope, Uday, you got the answer. We'll take the last
Thank you, sir.
question of this session. I request to you, Saurabh, to unmute the Kiran Dumbre, who has raised his hand to ask the question. So, Kiran, quickly ask the question.
Hello all. My question is, there are a lot of FPOs are being promoted through different initiatives since last couple of decades. So these FPOs are facing difficulties in supply chain activity due to lack of knowledge or lack of management skills or something. Some maybe constraints are there, as these they are from the farming backgrounds. So my question is there any opportunity for these FPOs to collaborate with the funding or any financing institution to promote their pledge loan finance scheme, so that they can partner with the financing institution with their infrastructure, whatever be promoted through different schemes or their own funding, and the pledge loan finance can be extended or promoted among their member farmers. So that the member farmers can get the benefit of this pledge loan scheme of the bank, and the FPO can also get a sustainable and protected business with minimum risk, and they can also utilize their infrastructure for their business purpose.
Kiran, already State Bank of India is extensively working in this direction. In fact, when we are collaborating with FPOs, when the FPO is in a certain advanced stage of development, we are doing the end-to-end digitized financing through the FPO. Though directly we are not financing the FPO, but we are financing the farmers associated with the FPO. So that will be a target clientele for the bank, and FPO also will be gaining in strength when the farmers associated with the FPO are financed. So apart from FPO finance, we also focus on financing farmers who are associated with FPO, and they are the preferable clientele for the bank.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah.
Also,
So
there is
I
also one
hope.
more option available. There is something called as NWR, negotiable warehouse receipts. So for this negotiable warehouse receipt, any godown which is registered with WDRA, that is Warehouse Development and Regulatory Authority of India, so they are eligible to provide the NWRs. So anybody, even if it's an individual or FPO, if they are constructing a godown and getting registered with the WDRA, then that is also a viable option. Thank you.
I hope,
Okay.
Kiran, you got the
Yeah,
answer.
yeah.
So
Sir, I'm also
there are so
just adding.
many.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
one more,
Shabbi,
one
sir,
more.
you want to add something? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kiran,
Shabbi, sir.
that's what I highlighted for FPOs. The farmers connected with you. We have a wonderful product where we can lend to your farmers. When you let FPO take their produce, we can lend to the farmers digitally in less than 5 minutes. So we can, our field officers can come to your FPO locations where we can directly onboard the farmers and give the real amount can be credited to their account. So this is the way we you that FPO can be directly involved with the like bank, and other needs also. If like they have other needs for education loans or other needs also can be catered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Almost
you very much.
all the speakers has given their insights. I hope, Kiran, you got the answer. There are so many questions are coming from participants as well, but due to time constraint, we're not able to take the all questions. But you can reach to the all speakers. We have given their details of the all speakers in the chat box. So I request to all participants kindly check the chat box, and you can participate in the Saturday webinar survey where we are taking your feedback also. That what type of topics you are looking in future from the managed side. So you can register to this Saturday webinar series to get the more important topics related to the agri startups or related to the agri ecosystem. So that can be helpful. Also, manage CIA running incubation center under Ministry of Agriculture. The scheme called RKVY-RAFTAAR, where startups at the ideation stage, we called it pre-seed test AOP program, where they can avail 5 lakh rupees of the grant from the government side, and the startups who are ready with MVP with traction in the market, they can avail the grant of 25 lakh rupees. So that support is our incubation center is already providing more than 310 startups with 10 crores of funding. So that support is there. So now request to participant kindly check the chat box and give your feedback about our startup webinar series. Also visit to our website to get the timely updates about our upcoming events. So for the cohort 9 applications we are rolling out, so where you can apply these grants which are provided by the our side, and hope to see you all for the next webinar and the next Saturday. So once again, I thank you to the all speakers on the manage and the all the participants for being there and asking the questions to the guest speakers. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Oi, Radha.
Thank you, Corona ma'am. You can now leave the meeting. Thank you so much.